welcome to the June edition of Table Football Monthly. It was a year ago in this very room that we were prepping our July 2019 edition, and I can honestly tell you that none of the three of us expected to still be doing it a year later. So thank you everyone for your support. Now on that front, this edition was to be the one where the three of us finally got back together, but it's not going to be the case, and it's got nothing to do with COVID. Smithy and his wife 3 weeks ago decided to go up into the hills on the outskirts of Gloucester for a walk. Sue had a fall and managed to get a compound fracture of her leg. The poor girl's been in hospital. She's had a steel plate fitted, skin graft, and is still convalescing now. So Smithy, the loyal and loving husband, is at her side, as he should be. So Sue, get well soon. It'll be lovely to see you back on two legs again. And Smithy, I'll phone you later on. Danielle will be making a brief appearance in today's edition, so we've got that to look forward to. Now, we've already had an anniversary present. Some of you may know that our last edition clocked over 50,000 views on YouTube, which is fantastic. And it brought with it a mountain of emails, many from people having a think about getting back into Subbuteo. So that is going to dictate the major bulk of the programme today. We'll be taking you through the various options open to you, demonstrating some of the new things on the market, and hopefully firing up your enthusiasm. But before we get motoring, I've got three quick thank yous. Firstly, a thank you to Barry Hogan. He wrote telling us that we'd lifted his spirits so much that he was going to send us a little Prezi through, which is always nice. Well, Barry sent this. You Are the Ref, based on the old strip in Shoot magazine. I don't know if you remember that. Well, Barry, it was a lovely thought, and I love it. I qualified as a ref in the mid-80s, and I'm ashamed to say I have been wrong looking at those quizzes too many times. We also want to say a big thank you to Simon Wade and his wife. Simon wrote to us saying that his wife had made a canopy for his royal box in his Subbuteo grandstand, and said they would be happy to make one for me. Well, it arrived and we're thrilled with it, and here it is in the grandstand. Now Simon, I'm embarrassed to say I don't know the name of your dear lady wife, so will you please convey my thanks? We love it, and it has become a permanent fixture. Now my final thanks go to the Moist Subbuteo Association, I think I've got that right, of North America. They sent us, as a thank you present for keeping them entertained during the lockdown, a selection of their merchandise, which we've put on display in the studio. At the risk of turning this programme into a carry-on film, thanks to everyone at Moist. I was delighted to have the opportunity to show my moist balls to various visitors to the studio this week.
Moist balls? Really?
Amongst other things today, we're going to be taking another look at Big League, because there has been a development, so stay tuned for that. And the other item we're going to do today, which has been requested over and over and over, we are going to take another look at Striker. We do have one last outstanding bit of business to deal with, and that is our Subbuteo Challenge. Regular viewers will know that each month we had a guest come to the studio and take on a series of challenges on this, our training pitch of dreams, as Smithy christened it. The idea was each player would take on a series of challenges, and the player at the end of May with the highest score would win £100 to spend at Subbuteo World. That's more like it. Well, in March, Roland Lyons was at the top of the table with 40 points, and then we were hit by the COVID lockdown. So there has been no challenger since. A couple of weeks ago, we let Roland know that he was our Subbuteo Challenge champion and arranged for the £100 to be spent at Subbuteo World. He did that quite promptly, and he sent us this video.
Thank you very much for the prize. It was a very hard challenge, but I'm very pleased to have won it. Table Football Monthly, don't mind if I do.
Congratulations, Roland, a prize well earned. And a special mention to Chris Burford, the runner-up. He was top of that table for some considerable weeks. On a personal note, a quick thank you to Bernard O'Connor and John Lauder. They came in and had a go at the challenge early on in the series and helped us to iron out some wrinkles. There will be a new Subbuteo challenge next season with some more interesting and tricky challenges. So if you would like to flex your Subbuteo trigger finger, get in touch with us on the address below. Come and spend a half day with us at the studio, have a practice, have a play. Who knows? It might be the easiest 100 quid you ever earned. Right, now, as is tradition on Table Football Monthly, we will go to the prize draw to see who won the competition from our last edition.
Hey, I'm busy. It's you first.
Far be it for me to interrupt a girl playing with her dolls. And I'm very pleased she liked her present. So, last month's question. I showed you these three teams and asked what they had in common in relation to the League Cup final, the English League Cup final. And I emphasise that because it was a clue. From 1981, that competition became known by its sponsor's name, which back then was the Milk Cup. So the clue was the answers came from before 1981. Each of the three teams was shown in the colours they wore in their particular final. So the first was Queen's Park Rangers. In 1967, they beat a very strong West Bromwich Albion 3-2 after Albion had gone 2-0 up. In 1969, Swindon Town played in all white against the Mighty Gunners and won that game 3-1 with 2 goals from the amazing Don Rogers. And then in 1971, Aston Villa lost the League Cup final 2-0 to Tottenham. And as Scott Smiley mentioned in his successful email, Villa was robbed. And you're quite right, Scott, they were. So what did those three teams have in common in relation to the League Cup? The answer is they all made it to the final from the English Division 3. So a lot of you, and many of you the usuals, got that answer correct. You are in the draw, but you are going to be joined by a wily group of people who cited Aston Villa as the third team, still correct, but because of their victory over Norwich in 1975. If those people cited their reason being that all three had won the League Cup from outside the top division, then it's true, I can't argue with it, you have also made it into the draw. So, here are the names of everybody in the hat, the baking tin, or whatever Danielle has put you in. Right, Danielle and I are being responsible. We are observing social distancing. So from my binoculars, Danielle is over at the other table, ready to do the draw. It's all yours.
But the names aren't in there. Mum has put them in a special bag. I think I've been away for too long. Right, it's time to announce this month's winner. Got our velvet bag. Let's give it a good shake. This month's winner is Mike Francis. Well done, Mike. Congratulations, Mike. Keith will be in touch in the next day or so.
Congratulations, Mike. You are the winner of these two rather fine soccer 3D flat-based sliding teams in all red and all white. I will be in touch with you to get your address and we will get them out to you this week. Well done. Right, there will be another competition later in the programme and this one may be just a little bit easier. If you are coming back to Subbuteo after a long break, then the good news is you are in very good company, as that applies to just about all of us. So, the chances are you're in one of two camps. The remnants of your old sets are in the loft, under the bed, in the garage, who knows, you've got them somewhere, which gives you a place to start. Or they've been lost, swapped, sold, who knows, and you're starting from scratch. For the sake of this feature, we'll assume we're starting from scratch. Now you may be aware that Subbuteo is 73 years old, and an awful lot of mischief can happen in that time. Wow, no wonder people have been writing emails saying, have you got any advice to offer? There is a lot of stuff out there, and sadly, not all of it is good. Now, as we're a moving picture medium on Table Football Monthly, you don't want to just see me stood here chatting. We've got to get down and dirty, do some demos, and give you the atmosphere and the action. However, a decision like this does need some thought, because as we just showed you, there's a lot out there. So if I may, can I recommend two books? 50 Years of Flicking by Richard Payne and An Illustrated History of Subbuteo by Daniel Tatarski. Both of these books are beautifully written, full of information and fun to have by the bedside. Sadly, they're both becoming a little rare. So if you'd like to get your information at the touch of a button, the best, the only, the most superb online reference site is Peter Upton's Subbuteo tribute site, and that address will be on the screen now. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Every team, every accessory, every box set, the different international names of them, everything chronologically in one place, as well as a lot of spin-offs. Right. For our feature, we've just shown you how much has gone on in 73 years. We're going to make it simpler than that. We're going to break this into 4 categories: the pitch, the goals, the balls, and the player types. Once you get those key things correct, everything else you can enjoy about this fantastic hobby will become more straightforward. So let's have a look at the green stuff, the pitch. At the risk of stating the obvious, the pitch is a very important investment when you're embarking on your voyage back into Subbuteo. There are a few questions that are worth asking yourself and taking a bit of time to think about. Is your layout going to be permanent? If so, if it's going to be on a table, it's going to be up there the whole time, left alone, then you can put down as your playing surface whatever you like, and we'll look at all those options as we go. If, however, there is a requirement for your pitch to be portable, that it might need to be packed away, then a cotton cloth will do you nicely, for the simple reason that it's portable. You can fold it up, put it in a bag and stick it behind the sofa. So our first offering is the original Subbuteo cotton pitch. You can pick these up on auction sites for under a tenner. This one is immaculate. This one I think cost me 12, 14 pounds, I can't quite remember, but it was still inexpensive. It's got all the lines on it you need, the traditional football markings, a shooting line, the lines are clear, it's clean. The nice thing about this quality Subbuteo cotton pitch is that the threads are good. There's no thread sticking up, it's smooth as silk, and a very, very good playing surface. But you may want something sexier. So one of the next questions to ask yourself is, what era do you want to play your Subbuteo in? If you're going back to when you were a child, this may be just the thing. If on the other hand you want to play a more modern game, you want to use more modern player types, or you want to build a diorama, a stadium around it, there are sexier looking pitches. You may notice during the changeover of pitches that I'm laying these cotton pitches on an old Astroturf pitch. The reason I'm doing that is the Astro pitch acts like a Velcro base. So it means I can lay these pitches really quickly. And the Astro grips the underside and I immediately get a flat pitch. I'm not suggesting you always place your cotton pitch over an Astro, but if you can find a cheap one, it's better than ironing. This gorgeous pitch lying in front of you now is from a company called Netcam from Spain. And for a long while, they held the license from Hasbro to manufacture and sell Subbuteo, a license they lost at the end of last year, 2019. But these pitches are still available. This is called the Uefa Champions League pitch, and it is a beautifully, beautifully smooth, flawless surface. A lot of people playing Subbuteo now use this pitch. The markings and the stripes look fantastic. The pitch behaves really well. I'm going to demonstrate a couple of things on it right now. So although Netcam no longer have that license to sell for Hasbro, you'll find pitches like this still on the auction sites and on the collector sites. And what I'll do at the end of the program is I will give you a full collection of links to back up what you've seen. This pitch will set you back between £28 and £38. Have a look on auction sites and the Facebook collector sites, which, as I mentioned, we will list at the end of the program. It truly is a gorgeous pitch to play on. If it suddenly feels like the temperature has dropped in this studio, it's because you're looking at the Netcam Winter Edition Subbuteo pitch. This came out earlier this year, 2020, from the same manufacturers as the UEFA Champions League pitch we were just looking at. Again, at risk of repeating myself, Netcam no longer have the license to manufacture and sell Subbuteo. But there will be a few of these pitches about still, because they were massively popular. They went out of stock once and people were on the internet screaming for any tips as to where they could get hold of one. So, what is it? It's a cloth pitch. Obviously, it has the snowy effect, it has the pitch lines in red, and it is very, very effective. And it might take a minute or two to get used to, because it does have a rather weird effect on the eyes. But let me give you a couple of close-up shots. It really is a lovely, smooth pitch. The ball runs straight and true. You can slide players on it. The players spin beautifully. It really is a nice cloth. Now, because this pitch was so popular when it came out, its price will have crept up. But you'd be spending maybe £30 to £45 for one of these, depending where you get it from. And as I say, if you're lucky enough or you're passionate enough to want to have a spare pitch, you could do a lot worse than have the winter pitch lying around. So once again, cotton, but you're not feeling like you've been shortchanged. This beautiful cotton pitch is brand new. They are still being made all over the world. So you can assure yourselves that cotton pitches are not a thing of yesterday. Now this one, another striped pitch, comes from Astrobase of Italy, a company we on the show know quite well. It's got a white surround to it. If you're going to fix it to a table, you're going to fix it with pins. The white bits will fold over the table and give you somewhere to put the pins in, or you can cut the white strip off without it affecting the pitch. You won't get any loose threads. So let's have a little close-up of this. Also from Astrobase of Italy, the opportunity to personalise your pitch. From Canary Yellow, to blue is the colour for fans of Chelsea. And even if you are a traditionalist, you'll have to agree these do add a splash of colour to the studio. You'll have guessed by now you are spoilt for choice in the world of cotton pitches. And as I mentioned traditionalists, we've still got a rather traditional one to take a look at. We've had our crispy autumnal green pitch. We've had our winter snowy pitch. So let me introduce you to the Table Football Monthly muddy pitch. This is a prototype and is going into production in the next 2 weeks. And as you can see, we've recreated those famous stodgy pitches from the 60s and 70s. This too is a cloth pitch. It is a very soft, clean thread, and it is enormous fun to play on. And it looks like you want it to look if this is your era.
That worked for Gemmell, although he didn't mean it. And back again, John Radford with him.
As promised, a progress report on the Table Football Monthly muddy pitch. I'm pleased and grateful to be able to tell you that it'll be going into production in 2 weeks, and that's largely due to your support. So thank you. The delay has been caused by 2 amendments that are being made. One is mine and one is yours. Mine is I'm going to add some detailing to the central mud pattern on the pitch, and yours is that I'm going to add muddy linesman tracks on 2 diagonals on the touchline. I should have the final price in about a week. So those of you that have emailed your interest, I will contact you as soon as I have that information with the price and the postage and packaging. And as I promised you, I'm going to keep that as low as I can. If you're unfamiliar with this pitch until this month's Table Football Monthly and you are interested in obtaining one, this is going to be a one-off limited edition print run. If you are interested in receiving one or receiving information, drop me a line on the usual address and I will add you to the mailing list. But please try and do so in the next week. By the time we see the next edition of Table Football Monthly, I should be in receipt of the first pitches and I will start mailing them out. It has always been our policy on Table Football Monthly not to create top 10 lists, the best of, to give you opinions of what we think is great and what isn't, because we are all old enough to make up our own minds. Our preference is to show you what's around, to demonstrate it, discuss it, and leave it to you to decide what you think. However, in this pitch review, there is one pitch I have left out. I have referred to cotton pitches and Astroturf all the way through. The one I have omitted for a reason, and that is the nylon pitch that came out in the 90s Subbuteo box sets. There's a good reason for that, and I'll show you now. On the face of it, it's a clean, albeit slightly light green, jolly Subbuteo pitch. But really, you need to look a little closer. This is what we call our loose thread test, where we run a cocktail stick along the pitch. You will find every now and then you will pick up threads that will catch, and if you have a ball that isn't completely smooth around the seam, or if you have a Subbuteo base that has little plastic nodules sticking out the end, these threads can catch that and stop the player dead. I do want to try and do right by Subbuteo. These pitches were included in 1990s box sets, and in reality they're entry-level sets. They're games to entice people into the hobby. So you'd get 2 good-looking teams, you might get a scoreboard, a trophy, you'd get corner flags. So with the pitch included, they had to keep prices down. They had to make the game affordable. So we understand why pitches like this would be included in a box set. So we're not knocking it, it's just within this feature, all these other pitches we've shown you will give you a good game. This one, for us just isn't quite up to the task. But we're not condemning it, because month after month we have a nylon pitch that sees a lot of use, and that's our Subbuteo Challenge pitch. But that's why we're not really including it in the review. By way of a conclusion, cotton pitches are not selling yourself short. They're not the poor man's Astro pitch. They're not the Walmart or the Primark option. Cotton pitches are a specific choice, and there's one thing you may not know. The reason you see a snowy pitch, the reason you see this muddy pitch, which though it may look like it's brown and green is actually multicoloured, is that cotton pitches are the only pitches you can do this kind of printing on, at least at the moment. So if you want this kind of atmospheric pitch, then cotton is your only choice and clearly your best choice. Prices for these are going to range second-hand from £10 up to £45 to £55. Bearing in mind, it is literally the foundation of your game. It is an important choice. So, what are your other options? Well, next up, we have Astroturf. Now, what is that? In principle, it is a flocked material, a fake Astroturf type material with a PVC or rubber backing. It has a lovely texture, is gorgeous to play on, and there is a multitude to choose from. So let's start on our Astroturfs. The first plastic-backed textured turf pitch came out in Subbuteo land in the mid-80s, and it was the iconic Astro pitch. This is the only plastic-backed turf pitch allowed to use the name. If you hear the phrase Astroturf, it's exactly the same pitch, it's just that those manufacturers can't use this copywritten name. So the Subbuteo Astro pitch was a genuine game changer, a real revelation, a textured finish that was flat and predictable and a total joy to play on. If you're looking for one of these in mint condition like this, in its original tube with both ends, you're looking at paying £60 to £85, and it is worth it. Steep, but worth it. But even if you see one of these, do make sure it has still got its tube, and also insist on seeing a picture of the pitch laid flat. What you want to be looking for is that it hasn't got any holes in it where it's been screwed onto a board. Maybe it hasn't got glue marks that have been used to hold down a goal, and that generally they haven't spilt beer on it. If it looks good flat and it's in its original tube and you can trust the seller, at £60 to £85 you'll be getting yourself a good pitch. As the 20th century drew to a close, it had become clear that Subbuteo's future was in some doubt, and it was left to the independents to pick up the baton and run with it. One of the first to do so, and they're still running strongly now, is Subbuteo World of Yorkshire in England. Their product brand name is Pegasus, and they have been producing Astroturf pitches, amongst other things, for nigh on 20 years. And as you'll see, I have a few in my collection. Their pitches are very high quality, they deliver quick, and I rate them very highly. So we'll be looking at a couple of theirs in a moment. Another major player in the world of Astroturf pitches are our good friends from Italy, Astrobase. We saw 3 or 4 of their cotton pitches. In a moment, we'll be looking at their FISTFA, that's the Federation of International Sports Table Football. We'll be looking at their FISTFA approved Astro pitch. So, I think it's time to let the good times roll. On the various groups you'll find on Facebook, and we've provided some links at the end, you'll see many a debate on how to get an Astroturf flat. I've only ever used one way. It works every time. Every pitch you see in here has been fitted the same way. They're all flat, and they've all been flat for a long while. I use repositional spray adhesive. Sounded like an advert then. I use repositional spray adhesive. Nothing cleans the bath better. The thing about these is you can spray your board, your MDF or whatever it is you'll have, lay your pitch on it, and then a year later, if you've decided you want to change the pitch, you can peel it off. And as long as you do it gently, it won't stretch. You can peel it off, place it somewhere. You can place a new Astroturf over it and the table will still be sticky. You might add a quick layer, but the table will still be sticky, and you can relay, lift for years and years. We've been doing it in this studio. I can absolutely guarantee it. As you can, but don't let it glue itself down.
No, hold on.
Just your bit. Happy?
Yeah.
Right, smooth out. Now, the art of this is, I'm going to head back slowly up the other end, and Danielle carefully smooths as we go.
Yeah. Middle out.
Yeah, be careful about bubbles right to the edge.
Okay. If I come round this way.
Yeah. Actually, that's going down well. Now, we promised Pete at Subbuteo, who kindly sent us this pitch, that tomorrow we would send him pictures of it lying perfectly flat and billiard smooth. You're doing a good job there, girl. Careful now, all the way. If you use the permanent spray, which normally has a red lid, it'll work, but your issue is it'll work too well. Should you, several months later, want to pull the pitch back, the risk of stretching it as you pull it free from the table could get the pitch out of shape. So repositional adhesive spray. If you want to screw it in, as this one's been screwed in, this one's screwed in each corner, that works as well. It's a little bit of bother because for me, I don't want to put a hole in the pitch. I don't want to put a hole in the table. But it's whatever floats your boat. Now, the other question I've been asked is about care of it. A few of you have found an old Astro base in the loft. It's faded a bit, it's grubby, how do you clean it? I'm not a fan of washing. That isn't to say you can't wash it, I just prefer not to. My cleaning kit, in this case, is gaffer tape, Gorilla tape, sellotape, maybe not parcel tape, it's not quite so adhesive, and a relatively soft nail brush. This will knock most Astroturfs into shape. Let me give you a quick demonstration. Here you can see we've just got the general mess that occurs over a week when it's left uncovered and it hasn't been played on. Fold your tape into a circle, stick your fingers into it and just pull up the mess, and this method will go quite deep and pull up a lot of rubbish from the pitch. Once you've used the gaffer tape, a relatively firm nail brush, not too firm, will tidy up the pile, catch a few of the bits you've missed, and really bring up the textured finish nicely. And there you'll see how much dust has come up just from that. Another question I've been asked a lot over recent weeks is, if I'm setting up a permanent pitch, how thick should the board be that I lay my pitch on? I tend to use 20mm. It's thick, it's easy to manage, and I find it relatively easy for me and Smithy to move it about. Goals are, of course, the holy grail at all levels of football. So you'll be thrilled to know I'm not going to do anything about it. Not because I'm a lazy old tyke, but because in our lockdown edition 1, which is on our channel, there is a 20-minute detailed feature including every Subbuteo goal right up to modern metal goals. So what I would suggest you do is go and have a look there at your leisure. The whole piece has been done in quite intense detail. So it would be unfair to our regular viewers to rerun the whole of that now. So that means we can jump straight on to the issue of balls. Similar to the situation with goals, we have already done a very detailed feature on balls. Have a look at our April edition, that's on the channel, and you'll see a fantastic feature on the history and evolution of Subbuteo balls. That's not me being arrogant, I can say that because the feature was supported very, very helpfully by Mr. Subbuteo himself, Trevor Spencer. He held significant management positions at Subbuteo sports games from the early 80s till the end of the 20th century. So have a look at the history and evolution of balls on our April edition. What we're going to do here is pick up where we left off. Our final conclusion was that this Adidas Tango ball that was developed in 84 and released in 85 was the epitome of ball design for Subbuteo sports and games for two reasons. At the insistence of Adidas, they said, Subbuteo, you can create our Tango ball, but we insist you manage to achieve 360-degree printing all the way around the ball. It's a vital part of our branding. It was taxing, but Subbuteo managed to do it. So these are the first Subbuteo balls that had that 360-degree printing. The second thing is, after decades of dodgy glued seams, Trevor and his team pursued a technical innovation called sonic welding that put these balls together and gave us truly smooth seams, which meant a straight roll. So if you're looking for a ball for your layout, and it's going to be a Subbuteo ball, start with the Adidas Tango ball, and any ball post 1985 will have been developed and manufactured the same way. So if I remove these for a moment, I'll just flick a few for you and you can see how good the roll is. For example, here's the ball that came with the Euro 96 set. This should also give us a straight roll. Yeah, we like that. Okay, here we have the Italia 90 ball. No problem, we like that. The much loved Subbuteo Mitre ball, this one in red, they also came in blue and black. Perfect, we like it. Clearly there are other manufacturers. Here is a 22mm Zugo ball. Lovely, no complaints there. We have another here. Fantastic. So you'll see that post 85, the design and manufacture of footballs has really improved. So you can pick the ball of your choice post 85. This is the Zugo version of the Tango ball, albeit unbranded. My expectation is it'll be good. There we go. Okay, what I will share with you is my personal favourite. They're topspin balls, decaled up. My favourite ball of all time is the 1970 World Cup ball, the Adidas Telstar ball. So let's give that a go. It's a good weight and it rolls true. We love that. The topspin Mitre ball should be exactly the same. Perfect. And on it goes with topspin. Pick any topspin match ball and that's what you'll get. So there you have it. Whatever ball you choose, post 1985, be it from Subbuteo, be it from Zugo, be it from topspin, should have a sonically welded seam. It should have 360-degree or as close as printing around the ball, and it should roll straight and true. Right, the final part of this chapter, player types, and the easiest. What? I can hear everybody crying. Are you kidding? It's the most complex, the most argued over. Well, it doesn't have to be. It really is quite simple. If you're coming back to Subbuteo, you may have a fond childhood memory of playing with heavyweight 00 scale players, maybe lightweight ones. You might have had the upright ones that have become known as zombies that weren't very pretty, but they do have their fans. If you're a little older, or you were playing during the 60s, you may have gone with the flat celluloid or card players. But in reality, there are only 3 types of manufactured table football player. I avoided the word Subbuteo then. And they are, let us have a look, the original flat card or celluloid player, the plastic 00 scale player on a hemispherical, semi-hemispherical base with a little flat bottom, and the more modern straight line sliding player. There are variations of those 3, but these are the 3 major player types. No one, least of all me, is in a position to tell you what kind of player type is going to suit you best, but there are a couple of options I can give to help you make that decision. Number 1, when you have a bit of free time, scroll through past editions of Table Football Monthly, because over the last year we have covered just about every different type of Subbuteo and tabletop player, and we continue to do so each month. Secondly, when you get to the end of the programme, look at the links on offer for the revival groups, for the different Subbuteo groups, and each day you will see videos, photographs, you'll see comments on how people finding different player types, which ones they prefer, which ones they believe are the best, and you can draw your own conclusions. Finally, and interestingly, there is the question of how you play, because the different player types have different kind of rules that apply. Now, we can't do everything in one program, but next month we will be looking at various types of rules that have been drawn up over the years of Subbuteo and table football, and looking at which may be the best for playing with friends, playing in a club, playing solo, and playing competitively. So join us next month for that.
Regular viewers may recall that we showed a preview of Chad Valley's Big League in our February edition, but Keith was not happy.
What happens is this. How frustrating even a soft mishit can trickle past your goalkeeper because he is stuck like a statue.
But something has got him really excited. Obviously it's me being back, or it could be something to do with table football. I better let him tell you before he bursts.
Danielle is right. Many editions ago, when we reviewed this, I had in the far foggy recesses of my mind a memory of receiving the set in 1973, Christmas, and loving it. When we got the box out here, very rarely for Table Football Monthly, I struggled to create a positive review for one single irritating, annoying and frustrating issue. The goalkeepers were just normal outfield players on a stand with no means of movement. The way the game worked was that your opponent would tell you when he was going to shoot. You got one move to position your goalkeeper, and even if the shot was mishit and trickled towards you at a snail's pace, you could do nothing to stop it just slowly rolling past your keeper. It was a fatal flaw and the game never really took off. So a few weeks ago, I was on the phone to Paul Woosley from oldfootballgames.co.uk, and he said, "Oh, whatever you do, don't go on eBay. There's somebody selling a few games of Big League." Well, naturally, within moments I was on eBay, and these boxes were different. There were goalkeeping rods, and the goals had a hole cut out of the net to take the rod. Moving goalkeepers? Surely not. That warrants another look at Big League. As you can see, this set is pristine. The players are unpainted, the paints are intact, the pitch is in its original wrapping. We have the gorgeous and famous team colour chart and rules, but more importantly, when we take away this inlay cover, This is always tricky and they are prone to ripping, so it's worth being a little patient. Let's ease it out. Underneath, there you have it. The goals with their brand new holes in the back. 2 rods, these are grey. They also came in white. They are attached to the player of your choice around his waist. Let's just get it to click into place. And there we have it. Is this one small innovation going to radically change this game? Let's get it set up. I've got to be honest, I'm a little bit excited. Here we have Argentina and Holland from the 1978 World Cup final, painted by Nikki, our art director here in the studio, and they look fantastic. We have holes in the back of our nets to take these white rods. I've left the grey ones in the box. We have a Dutch keeper and an Argentinian keeper, and for the first time since 1973, the prospect of playing a game of Big League with moving goalkeepers. So, wouldn't it be typical that it's the month that Smithy's not here? But I can't wait, so let's have a go anyway. Oh, one small note. The length of the Chad Valley Big League pitch is 5 feet, so it only just squeezes onto this Subbuteo table. But we haven't got time to clear another table. We'll make do with this. Let's see what happens. I really am loving knocking the ball around on this pitch. It is pristine and nearly 50 years old. I think this is the first time it's been out of the bag. And whilst a couple of the creases are quite well ingrained and it needs an iron, it's fantastic to be playing on something so new and gorgeous looking. Now, at some stage, the opportunity is going to come to shoot on goal. And I'm not going to be able to demonstrate it. But as some of you will know, particularly those of you who've been here, just through that door is our children's television studio. And I've got a young actor coming in shortly, who I think with a little persuasion, maybe a little bit of gentle violence, might be persuaded to come and have a go on our football table. So, with the magic of television, we'll do a cut now, and the next time we switch the camera on, I'm hoping there's going to be a young person here ready, willing and able to demonstrate our keeper on a rod. Well, we have a guest in the Table Football Monthly studio. This is Sophie. Thanks for joining us, Sophie. Can I ask how old you are?
15.
15, the ideal age for playing tabletop football. And am I right in assuming that you're a big fan of tabletop football?
No, not at all.
Do you know what a retake is?
No.
Just give us a moment. Hello, this is Sophie, one of our actors. And coincidentally, Sophie is a massive fan of tabletop football. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Ha! Excellent. Right, we are going to demonstrate these goalkeepers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Sophie, thanks for doing this. It's not terribly complicated. You'll see that the player has got a sprung leg. Okay, there's a little lever sticking out there. So you pull it back, let the ball go right into the socket of the base, aim anywhere at the goal. You're unlikely to hit it first go, and just go when you're ready. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but that's a bit of an angle. I don't think you're going to get it in from there.
Get in goal then.
So, goalkeepers on rods, a new innovation for Big League. And thanks to...
Sophie.
Yeah. In my humble opinion, this month's quiz is a little easier than those of late because it is a straightforward identification question. I'm going to show you pictures of 3 players who were plying their trade in the English leagues in the 1970s. 2 of them carried on playing into the 80s. And all you have to do is tell me who they are and whose kits they are wearing in those pictures. Ultimately, what teams were they playing for when the pictures were taken? If you are kind enough to do that and send me your answers to the usual address, which is info@tabletopyears.com, by July the 25th, then if you are successfully drawn from the hat, you're going to win a couple of groovy things. In fact, 3 groovy things. The first is going to be this small full pitch from Pegasus, which, as well as having the square mowing pattern on it, is card backed. Doubles up as a wobble board. This fits perfectly into the Pegasus 5-a-side set if you have that. But I use mine as a training pitch for close control, and here it is in action now. And if you want exact dimensions, I think the easiest way to show you is it's lying on a full-size Subbuteo pitch now. One end matches the 18-yard line at that end and also the 18-yard line at this end. So there you go. It's between the 2 18-yard boxes of a standard size Subbuteo pitch. So you'll win that. You will also win these cracking 2 flat-based teams from Subbuteo World, which are created by Kit-Models in Greece. Their website details will be coming up on our links page shortly. You get Southampton, and they are splendidly, beautifully finished. And a gorgeously finished Ipswich Town. And as I said, these have the flat bases. The decals are gorgeous. You're going to get to see them in close-up action now, so you can make up your mind if you fancy owning them. As you'll see, the Subbuteo, Andrew, Ipswich and Southampton players nail the chip challenge. And here they are, side by side on the slide, performing beautifully. 2 teams, in my opinion, well worth trying to win. What's not to love? Southampton and Ipswich Town, flat-based players, a Pegasus card-back pitch, and all you have to do is tell me who these 3 players are and what kits they are wearing, what teams they are representing. If you can do that by July the 25th, they'll be yours. Good luck. I look forward to receiving your entries, and we will do the draw at the end of July.
And remember, please don't put your answers in the comment section below the video, as they will be deleted and your answers will not be entered in the draw. Email answers only.
After Subbuteo, one of the most popular games discussed in our emails is Striker, and I love it. Back in our September edition, we covered the game in some detail in a Mark Lawrenson special. Mark Lawrenson, football legend. How do I play this again?
I'll tell you after, trust me.
So I can shoot from anywhere?
If you're feeling lucky, Will.
Oh, poor keeping from Smithy.
I thought I'd let our bed start.
Interesting goal celebration. Smithy rushing things a bit.
Final, here I come.
But then a great shot, worthy of a replay. 1 each. Smithy keeps the pressure up, but it's Danielle on the break, making it 2-1. Oh, a little argy-bargy between players at half-time there. Danielle getting the hang of things. Lovely pass with the outside of the foot. But again, it's Smithy from in his own half. He's equalised again, although dodgy keeping, it's got to be said. An incident off shot. A quick free kick. It's 3-2 Danielle. Great low shot. Oh dear, Smithy, not happy. Look at his face. Last minute opportunity. Danielle saves. Lawrenson Football Club 2. Lawrenson Hove Albion 3.
Even better than wearing a moustache, I got to beat Smithy. Right, time for an update. Over to you-know-who. Bring me a martini whilst you're at it!
Are you on that bleeding sofa? So what's the big news on Striker? Well, it's a little bit personal, but it is a little bit interesting. While we were making our documentary, The Tabletop Years, 3 years ago, to pass the time, Smithy and I had a little Striker tournament, and his Crystal Palace and my Aston Villa got to the final. And I decided we'd film it and use the best clips in the documentary. Well, I had played better than him, you'll have to take my word for it, throughout the tournament, but in the final, he beat me 2-1, something he has never let me forget.
Aston Villa got the kick-off, but it was Crystal Palace applying the early pressure. And Aston Villa had their goalkeeper to thank early on for keeping them in the game. This shot from the right wing, and then the keeper back on his feet to parry the rebound. It was inevitable that Palace would score first, and again it came from the right wing, a top corner shot giving Palace a 1-0 lead. Well, that woke Villa up. They started to get back into the game, making use of their passing game. And the opportunity when it came from great use of the rebound wall. And again the right wing, an unstoppable shot. No chance for the Palace keeper, 1-1. Then, just before half-time, from a very similar position, Villa could have taken the lead. The woodwork coming to Crystal Palace rescue. The goal that won the game was worthy of winning any game. A chip from their own half, coming down behind the keeper. Unstoppable. In the last minute, Villa might have taken the game into extra time. A one-on-one, clear opportunity, but once again, it was the crossbar that saved the day for Palace. And so the Londoners won the Studio Striker 5-a-side championship, and Smithy wasn't at all gloaty about it. Bless him.
And not only that, he beat me by scoring one of the best striker goals we've ever had, and potentially one of the best tabletop football goals we've ever had. So, I'd let it go. I'd forgotten it. But 2 weeks ago, while rummaging around in one of my sealed up boxes, I found this. A rather threadbare and admittedly slightly tatty Striker cloth pitch. Not only did I not know I had it, I didn't even know it existed. So I have got a couple of weeks before Smithy comes back for next week's edition to practice on this. I'm going to set it up, I'm going to do the floodlights, I'm going to get the scoreboard, and I am going to annihilate him on this cloth pitch. That is the plan. So you saw it here first. We'll give this a go next month, see what it looks like. Keep your fingers crossed, because I need to win and I need to do better than that goal. Well, that about wraps up the June edition of Table Football Monthly. I have to say a big thanks to Danielle. It's been fabulous having her back in the studio. Made it feel a bit more homely. Smithy, hope Sue gets well soon. We're looking to have you back next month, fingers crossed. And a special thank you to Sophie Campbell. The poor girl came here thinking she was going to be voicing in our studio and ended up in here playing table football with an idiot. So thanks to Sophie, we appreciate that. Now, I know you're going to expect what I'm about to say, but I promise you, because I don't say it often, this is genuine. Do not miss our next edition. Now that life is getting back to normal, I'm hoping the next edition will be out around about the 27th of July. Make sure you watch it, because we will have one of our biggest announcements to date, something many of you have written to me about, and something that I believe we have solved. So don't miss that. Otherwise, take care. Thank you very much for watching and keep safe. those were the days. Yeah, those were the days. Tired of being a grown-up, wanna throw it away. I said, Smithy, let's set up and play.